As Christmas approaches, the UK faces a familiar question. Could the infamous beast from the east return? Meteorologists are on high alert after a sudden stratospheric warming, SSW event above the North Pole in late November, which often signals a higher risk of severe cold and snow. The big question: will the UK see a typical mild, wet winter, or will Arctic air surge in, bringing disruptive snow and freezing temperatures just as the festive season begins? The next few weeks will reveal if this winter demands our attention. A sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, is a dramatic and rapid temperature spike that occurs high above the North Pole, in a layer of the atmosphere called the stratosphere. While the surface may remain bitterly cold, temperatures in the stratosphere can soar by as much as 50 degrees Celsius in just a few days. This extraordinary event is one of the most significant and fascinating phenomena in atmospheric science, and it can have far-reaching consequences for weather patterns across the Northern Hemisphere. Normally, the polar vortex, a powerful, fast-moving band of winds, circles the Arctic, acting like a barrier that keeps the coldest air trapped near the pole. This swirling current of air is crucial for maintaining the typical winter weather patterns we expect. But when an SSW occurs, it disrupts this balance in a dramatic way. The sudden warming causes the polar vortex to weaken, wobble, or even split apart entirely. Sometimes, the winds that usually race from west to east can slow down, stop, or even reverse direction. This breakdown of the atmospheric fence allows frigid Arctic air to escape its usual confines and spill southwards, often with dramatic results for countries far from the pole. It takes about 2 weeks for the effects of an SSW to work their way down from the stratosphere to the surface. But when they do, the impact can be striking. In the UK, for example, the usual flow of mild, moist Atlantic air can be replaced by icy blasts from Siberia, transforming the weather almost overnight. Rain can quickly turn to snow, and temperatures can plummet, catching many people off guard. It's important to note that not every SSW leads to a severe cold snap at the surface. The atmosphere is complex and many factors influence how the cold air moves. However, the odds of a significant cold spell increase dramatically after an SSW. Meteorologists use advanced models and data to track these events, looking for signs that the polar vortex is weakening and that cold air could be on the move. That's why meteorologists pay such close attention to SSWs. When one is detected, it's a signal that the dice are loaded for a potential beast from the east scenario, a term used in the UK for particularly harsh winter weather, driven by cold air from the east. Newsrooms and weather services ramp up their coverage, warning the public to prepare for the possibility of snow, ice, and freezing temperatures. The UK's weather is famously unpredictable, but when an SSW occurs, the risk of a major freeze becomes much more real. Streets that were wet with rain can suddenly be blanketed in snow, and daily routines are disrupted as people adapt to the sudden change. Commuters face icy roads, schools may close, and communities must work together to cope with the challenges of a deep freeze. So, when you see the first signs of a sudden stratospheric warming in the headlines, it's worth paying attention. The stage is set for a potentially dramatic winter, with the possibility of snow-covered landscapes, icy winds, and a true test of the UK's resilience in the face of nature's power. The polar vortex acts as the Arctic's gatekeeper, spinning high above the pole and trapping the coldest air. When it's strong, the UK gets milder, wetter winters as Atlantic systems dominate, but an SSW can destabilize the vortex, causing it to split or shift, and unleashing Arctic air southward. This breakdown means the UK is suddenly exposed to direct blasts of Siberian cold. The result? Not just a chilly day, but potentially weeks of freezing temperatures and heavy snow. The polar vortex's stability is the difference between a typical British winter and a true deep freeze. When the gatekeeper fails, winter can turn severe, fast. The winter of 2018 showed just how powerful an SSW can be. After a stratospheric warming in February, the UK was hit by the beast from the east: relentless easterly winds, deep snow, and record-breaking cold. Temperatures plunged, with some areas dropping below -14 degrees Celsius, and snow drifts isolated communities. Schools closed, transport ground to a halt, and red weather warnings were issued nationwide. The 2018 event was a textbook example of how an SSW can paralyze the UK. It's a stark reminder that despite our maritime climate, we're not immune to Siberian-style freezes. That's why the current SSW is being watched so closely. Even before the SSW's effects arrive, the UK has already felt winter's bite. Late November and early December brought sharp frosts, icy roads, and the season's first significant snow, especially in Scotland and northern England. Temperatures have plunged to -11.7 degrees Celsius in the Highlands, prompting weather warnings and travel disruption. A brief milder spell is expected as Atlantic air returns, but forecasters see this as only a temporary break. The real focus is on what happens next, as the SSW's influence begins to filter down. This early cold may just be the opening act for a much harsher winter. Every time a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, is forecast, it sparks memories of the infamous 2018 event. That year, the so-called Beast from the East brought the UK to a standstill, with snowdrifts blocking roads, schools closing, and communities rallying together to cope with the extreme cold. But while it's tempting to draw direct comparisons, it's important to remember that no two SSW events are ever truly identical. Each one unfolds in its own unique way, shaped by a complex web of atmospheric conditions. In both 2018 and 2025, meteorologists observed a rapid warming high above the Arctic, causing the stratospheric winds to suddenly reverse direction. This dramatic shift disrupts the polar vortex, a swirling mass of cold air that usually stays locked over the North Pole. When the vortex weakens or splits, it can unleash frigid Arctic air, allowing it to spill southward into Europe and the UK. This sets the stage for the kind of severe winter weather that can catch even seasoned forecasters off guard. The timing of these events is especially striking. In both years, the impacts are expected to be felt right around Christmas, a time when families are making travel plans, high streets are bustling with shoppers, and the country is hoping for a peaceful holiday. The prospect of snow and ice during this busy season adds an extra layer of uncertainty and excitement, as people wonder whether they'll wake up to a white Christmas or face travel chaos. However, the way the polar vortex breaks down, and the state of global weather patterns at the time, can dramatically influence where the coldest air ends up. Sometimes the cold is funneled straight into the UK, bringing widespread snow and freezing temperatures. Other times, subtle shifts in the jet stream or blocking high-pressure systems can steer the worst of the cold elsewhere, leaving Britain with only a glancing blow or even milder conditions than expected. While an SSW significantly raises the odds of a cold spell, it's never a sure thing. Statistically, about 70% of SSWs lead to severe cold snaps in the UK, with heavy snow and icy conditions disrupting daily life. But in roughly 30% of cases, the event fizzles out, and the anticipated big freeze never materializes. This unpredictability keeps both the public and meteorologists on their toes, as everyone prepares for the worst but hopes for the best. As Christmas 2025 approaches, the outcome remains uncertain. Will the UK experience another historic cold spell? Or will the weather take an unexpected turn? The risk is real, and the stakes are high, especially for those planning holiday gatherings, travel, or outdoor celebrations. People across the country are watching the forecasts closely, stocking up on essentials, and hoping for clear answers in the days ahead. For now, meteorologists are monitoring every development, analyzing new data as it comes in, and comparing it to past events like 2018. They know that while history can offer clues, the atmosphere always has the potential to surprise. As the countdown to Christmas continues, all eyes are on the skies, waiting to see if history will repeat itself, or if 2025 will write its own chapter in the story of British winters. For forecasters, an SSW is a rare chance to predict a major weather shift weeks in advance. The late November 2025 event is especially significant because its impacts could hit during the busy Christmas period. This lead time allows authorities and the public to prepare for possible disruption. Each SSW also helps scientists refine their models, improving future forecasts. The stakes are high. A severe cold snap now would have far-reaching effects on travel, energy, and daily life. Tracking this SSW will shape how we handle winter weather for years to come. Will it be a white Christmas? That's the question on everyone's mind as the festive season approaches. Across the UK, families are peering out their windows, hoping to wake up to a magical blanket of snow on Christmas morning. The idea of a white Christmas has long captured the nation's imagination, conjuring images of snow-dusted rooftops, children building snowmen, and festive lights twinkling through frosty air. But what does the forecast really say this year? Thanks to the sudden stratospheric warming event, or SSW, the odds of seeing snow this Christmas are higher than we've seen in recent years. Meteorologists are closely monitoring the situation, as these rare atmospheric events can dramatically shift weather patterns, bringing colder air down from the Arctic. This year, the SSW has already started to influence our weather, increasing the likelihood of wintry conditions just in time for the holidays. However, the forecast isn't entirely straightforward. A brief milder spell is expected to sweep across southern areas on Christmas Eve, which could bring rain instead of snow for some. Wet pavements and cloudy skies may greet those in the south as they prepare for Christmas Day. But don't put away your sledges just yet. Colder air is forecast to return between Christmas and New Year, setting the stage for a dramatic change in conditions. Scotland and northern England are in prime position for a white Christmas, with the best chance of waking up to snow on the ground. The higher ground in these regions is especially likely to see significant snowfall, creating postcard-perfect winter scenes. Meanwhile, the south of England may not be left out entirely. There's a chance that flurries could develop later in the day or even overnight, adding a touch of festive magic. The timing of the cold air's arrival is crucial. If it sweeps in just after Christmas Day, we could see snow falling on Boxing Day or in the days that follow. This means that while Christmas morning itself might be more wet than white for some, the holiday week could still deliver plenty of wintry weather for families to enjoy. As we move into the final week of December, the forecast becomes even more wintry. Temperatures are set to drop sharply, and widespread snow is a real possibility. With this comes the risk of travel disruption. Roads and railways could be affected, and commuters may face challenging journeys. It's a good idea to keep an eye on local forecasts and be prepared for sudden changes in the weather. While a picture-perfect white Christmas isn't guaranteed for everyone, the chances of a wintry festive week are higher than usual. Streets lined with snow, children playing outside, and gardens transformed into winter wonderlands could become a reality for many across the country. Even if the snow arrives a little late, the festive spirit will be alive and well. So, whether you're hoping for snowball fights, scenic walks, or simply a cozy view from your window, this holiday season could be one of the most memorable in years. Keep your scarves and gloves handy. This Christmas, the UK might just get the winter wonderland it's been dreaming of. With severe winter weather possible, preparation is key. Stay updated with reliable forecasts and heed official warnings. If you're traveling, check conditions, winter-proof your car, and pack emergency supplies. At home, ensure your heating works and stock up on essentials. Look out for vulnerable neighbors and relatives. Community spirit matters in tough weather. The SSW gives us time to get ready, so a cold snap is an inconvenience, not a crisis. With a little planning, we can face whatever winter brings with confidence.